welcome to Mr. Aftab to our Dev Talk series. Today we're going to talk
Mm.
about the Sustainable Tourism Foundation in Pakistan, particularly their Indus River Dolphin Ecotourism initiative. So our first question for you is, can you explain how and why the initiative to encourage the Indus Dolphin ecotourism began?
Uh, well, Manur, actually, there's a long story. I was working with Adventure Foundation Pakistan in 1995, uh, and our mentor, Brigadier Jan Nadakha, who was president at that time of Adventure Foundation, he discussed an idea that we need to develop a trail on which we could travel all the way from where Alexander the Great passed through in 327 BC. It was a kind of tracing the footsteps of Alexander the Great. It is a very interesting history. Alexander the Great almost traveled all the way from north to south in Pakistani territories in those days in 327 BC. And part of that trip was along the river Indus, in which we came to know that when he won the Battle of Rajaporus, he developed a fleet of boats, flat-bottom boats, and half of the army, all of Alexander the Great, was on the boat, and half was traveling on the left and right bank of river, all the way down to the Sindh province and the Arabian Sea. So we were very much interested to know about all those flat bottom boats because people told us that there are still those flat bottom boats in use in Pakistan by the Mohanas, the people who live on the boats in River Indus, and they spend almost their whole life on River Indus. So we planned a trip to Tausa Barrage, where there's some communities of Mohana fishermen. We had an idea that we'll meet them. We went there and we saw those flat bottom boats, the huge boats with flat bottom. Actually, they could easily navigate in River Indus when there's a very shallow water in that area. There's no deep water even available. And we decided to did a short trip from Tausa Barrage to Ghazi Ghat, about 45 kilometers on those flat bottom boat. And when we were sailing down in River Indus, after about 5-6 kilometers, we saw some strange creature coming on the water surface. And I asked my Mohana friend, what is that? He said, oh, this is Bullan. I said, what Bullan? He said, Sai, show the aurat hai.
We actually thought of it
Yeah,
as a mermaid,
yeah. He
Yeah.
said there was a lady in old days who used to take milk to Pir Sahib on every Thursday, and she missed some time, and the Pir Sahib was in very angry mood. He said, oh, you go into the river, live there and say shoo shoo. So that lady is basically the dolphin in Indus, which is now called Bhullan by these boat people. So I
Local
was
people,
very
yeah.
much amazed by this story. And later on, we saw that Bhullan many times coming on the surface. And that was my first encounter with Bhullan in 1995. And there were many stories the fishermen told us about that. There was some good and some bad as well. I don't want to narrate all those anyway. But when I came back to Lahore, and I told that to Brigadier Jannah, he said, find out more about Bhullan. What is that? So in those days, we had a friend in WWF Pakistan, Mr. Ali Habib. So I went to him in Lahore, and they had a good library in their office. And he told me there are lots of books available, and you can read about that, about Indus Blind Dolphin. And in the same office, I also met Ali Habib's wife, Majibin, who is also kind of very passionate about conservation and nature. She told me, Aftab, why don't you read that book, The Secrets of Indus Blind Dolphin? It's just lying there in the library. So that was a starting point. I mean, when I went through that book, I came to know, wow, there's such an amazing creature available in our river, and we don't know about that. And that was River Indus dolphin, basically. When I went through all that, and I came to know that Indus blind dolphin is something which has its origin associated with the Sea of Tethys. 50 million years ago, there was a sea where the Pakistan is right now. Sea of Tethys. And this was the dolphin of that sea. When the continental collision took place, and this river dolphin forcefully adopted the habitat of River Indus, and it's a long evolution history associated with that. And millions of years living in the turbid water. It has lost its eyesight, and now it's there as a river dolphin. You know, most of the dolphins in the world are in the sea, in the salty water, more or less about 25 species. The only 4 dolphins which exist in rivers in the world. One is Indus dolphin, there is Ganges dolphin, one is the Yellow River dolphin in China, and the other one is the Amazon dolphin. And yellow one has already extinct. Now, this is the most endangered species, the Indus dolphin in the world. And when I asked more from the people who are involved in conservation, they told me that Indus dolphin is the oldest living creature on the earth, because it is kind of a fossil animal. You see, it's such a unique animal. And after human, it is the most intelligent creature on the world, on this globe, you know. So this created, quite a lot of interest among me. And I started finding out why this dolphin is endangered, what are the problems with its life. Then I came to know that one of the problems associated with the killing of dolphin is related to the Mohana peoples, because they sometimes, when they go for fishing, they put the net in the river for overnight fishing, and sometimes the dolphins come and get entangled into the net, and it cannot come to the surface to get breathe, and it drown and it die. And they don't care about that, because it is not a kind of a fish which has a price in the market, so let it die. And sometimes they use its fats, because there's a lot of fats in its body, to polish their boats and to make them smooth. And sometimes they also made some medicines, traditional medicine, using its fats, but nothing else. Side by side, there were other threats.
Can you say a little bit about dolphin itself, why it jumps into the river, and whether it is a fish or not, something about that, and then we continue.
Yeah, dolphin basically is kind of a mammal. It's not a fish, because it has to come on the surface for breathing. Fish can breathe underwater, but dolphin is just like a human being. It has to come on the surface to breathe. That's how it's jump again and again, because it needs more or less a jumping to the surface, more or less after 1.5 minutes to get breathe, and then go down into the water. So that's how you can see the dolphins. Otherwise, they usually remain in the water, but they can't, because underwater they cannot survive.
I just want to mention 2 more things, which I learned from your project, that it breathes from its neck.
Yes.
So it has to jump in the air to breathe.
Yeah.
But since it has to do it continuously around the clock, so it gets a micro sleep during that cycle, which adds up to
because
8 hours
it
a
has
day.
It has its snots on the head, which is called a blowhole. When it comes on the surface, is open, and it can breathe and then go down into the water. So it's because in Indus there's not too much water at many places, the shallow water. So it's continuously keep moving and taking breathe on the surface and going down, taking breathe on the surface and going down. It cannot stay longer, because it will drown. It usually take breathe after 1.5 minutes. So that's how you can see dolphin coming on the surface for breathing.
So you were talking about that the local fishermen take the dolphin and use it for blubber or use it to create traditional medicine, but they don't actually use it to sell it in the market. So my question is, did they not have any laws in place that would prevent people from even fishing at all, or not using such nets in which they would get trapped? Was there no legal protection for them before this?
You see, Mahnoor, initially there was very little awareness about this dolphin's existence in River Indus. And it was there since millions of years. But it only came in attention after that book, The Secret of Indus Blind Dolphin, written by a Swiss scientist. And then Sindh Wildlife Department started developing some rules and regulation to protect its habitat and itself as well. But even by that time, there was very little knowledge among the people who were involved in conservation. But gradually and slowly, WWF and other conservation organizations started work, and they came to know that it is really, really endangered, because initially we had no idea how many dolphins are there in the river. I remember when we started this ecotourism project, I was involved with WWF team, and we did first survey, and we counted all the dolphins from north to south available in the whole range. So there were almost about 700 dolphins. That's how we came to know that it's a very, very small number for any animal to maintain its existence. It's an endangered animal. So there's a need to have more stronger laws and more, awareness. Laws are there, but the awareness is not there.
What I understand is that, short of policy, you decided that you want to convert Mohanas into friends of Indus Dolphin,
Yes,
and train them and teach them, and that is why you started the projects. So can we go
exactly.
straight to your project now? Yeah.
Yeah, because that was one thing what I think at that time that we can do, because we were involved in travel and adventure. So we thought this fisherman community is directly associated with the fishing activity on river, and they could be the excellent custodian of this dolphin if they're trained to save these dolphins. So that's how we started the Indus Dolphin Ecotourism Program. We trained them as tour guides, as boatmen. We updated their boats and their services with the help of UNDP Small Grant Program. And also, we promoted it through the social media and other mediums. We developed a video film on that. Then the people started coming in. So that's gave them a motivation to, have a better income than fishing. Even now, they have developed their own rescue team at Tausa Barrage. And if they get any news that there's a dolphin in trouble, trapped somewhere, they quickly go and try to release that. That's the level of awareness of these fishermen who used to be not careful about dolphin protection in the past. So that's the reason that we have linked the conservation with the economic incentive for the fishermen, who are the people living below the poverty line, or their income is getting better, and they're becoming more, friendlier with the dolphin existence in the river.
Boats and taught them about dolphins, so that when they carry people, for a tour, they can tell them the stories. And there were singers among them who would sing, and they would have crafts and all these things.
Yeah, we have developed the package in a way when tourists come, they travel on their traditional boats, which are not motorized. They keep quiet while sailing down on river, so that dolphin could be very close to the boat. And they also serve with the local food cooked by the local fishermen or the women when they are in the camp, in the houses. They buy their handicrafts. They also spend money in terms of buying the local food products from the villages. So that's how the ecotourism economy has built up around this conservation work. On one side, this has motivated to the fishermen to save dolphin. On the other side, it has improved their economic activity, and also it has motivated them to also feel proud about their crafts and handicrafts which the women produce, the rallies and other things, the baskets which they made. Tourists give them better price for that. So that's how the tourism has now given an incentive to them to be a kind of a custodian of dolphin.
Yeah, I remember that when we brought a group of people from UNDP in Islamabad to Tausa for a trip. It was a fantastic trip.
Yes, yes.
And we discovered that when they go and pull out dolphins from the nets, they're trapped. Then very important point is to transport them from one point to the other. Although they live in the river, and they are mammals, but as soon as you put them on a jeep or vehicle, there are two problems. One is they can easily get disoriented. So you
Yes.
have to put them in a certain position so that they don't get disoriented. And secondly, you have to keep spraying water on them, because otherwise their skin starts cracking.
Yeah.
So these are very delicate things to know. And you taught fishermen about all these things so that they can safely rescue them from one point and take them to the other point, and tied their income with tourism rather than hunting these dolphins.
Yeah,
So that's how
yes,
it became. Yeah.
Fyasab, with the help of the conservationists like Jill Brolick and Uzma Khan in WWF and Richard Garsting, we have developed a whole drill of rescue of river dolphins. Because you see, Indus has lot many places from where the large canals are routed in different direction. And sometime in winter, when these canals are closed, the gates are closed to the rivers, so the dolphin sometimes have already gone into these canals. They are trapped there, and it is important to bring them back to the river, otherwise they cannot come back. So when we receive any news from the villagers that there's a dolphin trapped in the canal, we alert our team, and then they go on a vehicle which has the proper stretcher and all the equipment with them, and then they rescue it very carefully, put it back on the stretcher, and they keep it wet all the way from that point to the river with the same river water, and bring it back to the river very carefully and then release it. A dolphin can stay out of water for a longer period of time unless it is kept properly wet, it is kept calm, and its blowhole is not closed, so it could breathe easily. So sometimes we have rescued dolphin even 5-7 hours drive from the river, and then came back all the way to riverbank and releasing, and it's jumping back into the water. It is the most exciting scene, when you bring it back to the life once again in the river. The dolphins, these dolphins are very interesting creature because they're just like human being. Their size is almost of the human size, 5 feet and 6 inches, and its weight is almost 70 to 80 kilograms. It's almost like a human being. That's why the fishermen call it's just like a man or like a woman. You see?
Mermaid,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
they laugh also like human beings,
yeah, exactly.
and yeah, and their communication through
Exactly. Another interesting aspect is the mother dolphin always gave one calf and not two, because they cannot take care of two, because it take about 9 months, exactly like human being, in the gestation period. Then the calf come out. It stay about 6-7 months with the mother, and mother feed that calf on its milk. And then when it's mature enough, they start feeding small fish, and it's very interesting. I mean, it's very close to a human being. And the story, when we tell to the people that this is something, a unique creature in the river, which is just like you, and it has also a handicap. It can't see because it has lost its eyesight. It always navigate with a sonar system, which is the most sophisticated in any creature in the world right now. Even it can distinction between live and dead fish. That's how it has survived so long.
I have a question about the small grants that you received from UNDP. So, how much did you get from them, and approximately how many boats did you recover, restore, and which areas did it first go to?
Yeah, actually, it was a small grant program. In those days, even that small grant was enough to start a small initiative. We started this program, I think, in 2001 or 2002, and we initially renovated 4 flat bottom boats. We provided them life jackets and other equipment, and camping equipment, and some cooking utensils. And also, we trained local fishermen with the help of that grant, and we promoted that package and developed certain material on that. So that's how the activity started. So in those days, I think it was about a grant of about 2 million rupees to start with. But later on, we also upgraded it and did more work on the training of rescue development activity, engaging local community awareness sessions in different communities. So it's still going on. I mean, the project which we started in 2001 is still active, and the community is intact. They're working, they're promoting this tourism. And even if you want to go today, you let us know, and tomorrow you can be there camping on the beautiful sandy bank of River Indus, Estanza Barrage.
When we went for this trip with you had a fantastic cook. I mean, he cooked inside the boat because they
Yeah.
live there. They have their bedroom in the boat. They have their kitchen in the boat. They do everything there. And he made almost a 7 course meal for all the people over there without making any noise or sound or anything. So quietly and fantastic meal.
If
So
you
they're amazing. Yeah,
if you remember Faisab, that was a stormy night, and there was a sandstorm, and we were not expecting that we will have any dinner tonight. But
exactly.
when the things calmed down, he brought his dishes, and we were all mesmerized with the flavored
It's a
food he served.
Yeah, it's amazing. And yeah, because of the storm, we had to anchor. And then some of us slept in the tents, but others slept on the boat.
On the
The
boat.
boats were
Yes, yeah.
so many. It was a very interesting visit. Yeah.
On that note, can you describe what are the main challenges that Pakistan's ecotourism industry is facing right now? And can you also explain the pro-poor approach that the Sustainable Tourism Foundation has adopted? I know you explained a little bit about training local fishermen, but if you could elaborate a little bit more about that.
Yeah, Manur, ecotourism is something which is not just motivating people to travel from place to place, but it is a travel which is a travel with care, which is a travel with purpose, and which is a travel with focusing on the conservation and side by side improving the well-being of the local people where we go. So the benefit of tourism should reach to the people of that area. So with that focus, Sustainable Tourism Foundation is working to do various activities. This is one of the project, but we are doing other activities as well in the mountains, in the desert areas, and in the plains of Punjab, in which our focus is on uh, conservation of natural heritage as well as cultural heritage, because Pakistan is a country which is blessed with a great variety of natural and cultural heritage. Faisab has traveled all over Pakistan. We have a country like this, like the Arabian Sea and the world's tallest mountain. More or less 9 ecological zones we have in Pakistan, and you can experience a great diversity of natural and biological diversity in Pakistan. So Pakistan, in terms of potential of ecotourism, is a great destination. And we are trying to promote this concept in Pakistan because it is quite new for people, because generally we were promoting tourism with the purpose to make more money. But ecotourism is focused on the conservation, on education, and side by side providing economic and social well-being activities to the local people. So I have seen that through this kind of project at Tansa Biraj, where the fishermen people who are living in the below poverty line, now they have adopted this program. On the one side, they are now have become the kind of a conservationist themselves, protecting river dolphin, because it is not very easy to protect this dolphin in the range of thousands of kilometers unless you involve the local people who are sitting on the river, who are living along the river. They could be the right custodian. So that is one of the project which is such a very good example to train a kind of a group of people who live along the river, who have become custodian, who have become rescue team of river dolphin, and now they are also promoting an eco-friendly tourism and also making their livelihood in a better way. So the community well-being is also there. Even
So
the
it's
women of this
environment. Yeah.
community feel pride that their products are now getting better value. The baskets they make, the rally they make, the video I have shown you, you must have heard the lady what is saying there. She's saying, now we know that we have dolphin, which is very important for us. And this is something which is giving us value and better return of money as well. So that's the
Yeah.
level of awareness now. And we have engaged the local children, the schools around. We have developed a comic book on that, a small a booklet on the dolphin history. I can send you that. And we
Thank
have
you.
also developed quite a lot of interactive training material to engage fishermen and train them in their local language.
This is now a self-financing and self-sustaining project built on environment poverty nexus. So
Exactly.
that
I
shows
will,
the,
yeah.
yeah.
As you see, since 2001 and now it's 2023, if this has sustained so long, it means
Yeah.
it has a good sustainability model built in.
Right.
Although, as a whole, we face quite a lot of challenges in terms of tourism promotion in Pakistan, because initially we had in mind that more foreign tourists will come to enjoy this activity. But due to
Yeah.
Pakistan's condition, there are very few foreigners who come to Pakistan. But we have now focused more on the domestic tourists who go on these trips and have this kind of a unique experience. And they also get an opportunity to get them educated about the nature conservation as well.
Because this model has been growing for so long and because so many years have been spent trying to conserve these dolphins, has the number of dolphins grown over time or are they still endangered?
Yes, we have noticed a positive impact on the dolphin population because the initial survey we did, we counted about 700 dolphin at that time. But after that, WWF Pakistan has did 2 more surveys, and now their population is something around 1,600 to 1,700. So it means it's a very good, healthy impact on the overall population of river Indus dolphin, which is a threatened species.
And a related question to that, I read that the initial reason why the numbers declined was because there was so much pollution in the water, and there was so much garbage essentially in the water that was killing them off. What's been done to remove that pollution?
Well, it's a very difficult question because this need quite a lot of strategic planning. Because last year I read one report that Indus is becoming one of the most polluted river in the world, a report by World Bank. And after that, World Bank has done a project to did a proper study to work out and see is it really correct. And now we're getting more information on that. But two kind of pollution sources are there. One is the city urban solid waste coming into the river, and second is the sewage water of few cities, which is directly coming into the river. And third one is also the runoff of the pesticides in the field along the river Indus. So these are the main pollution sources in river Indus. And now I think government is now taking an action with the help of the donor agencies to find out how we can better manage the solid waste within the cities instead of throwing into the river. That will reduce the impact, and also the treatment of sewage water before it enter into the river. These two things are very, very important. And also reduction in the use of pesticides in the areas along the river is important. So these three threats need to be managed. But one of the biggest threat has been the construction of barrages on the river. There's 6-7 barrages all the way, so which the population of dolphin cannot cross the barrage structure, because although there were gates initially made into the barrages, but they are not functional. So they are entrapped in between certain areas. So inbreeding maybe have taken place, which has been negatively affected on their growth. And there more research required. There's quite a lot of research required on this animal, because WWF has started a number of projects and they are doing some studies. I hope in future we'll be better in position to have more conservation work taking place to improve the habitat. It's important to improve the habitat of dolphin, because unless the habitat is not good, its existence will be always endangered.
Conclude it here. It's a wonderful story. Thank you for agreeing to give us an interview. It's wonderful. It's very nice. And we'll be in touch.
My pleasure, sir.
Yeah. Thank you so
Thank you,
much.
Manur.
Yeah.
Thank you. Bye-bye.